Good afternoon, listeners. Assalamu alaikum. It's me, Suleiman Ben Sware, coming back on Facebook Live. Today is Friday, the 4th of October 2021. The time is just gone 18 minutes past 5 in the afternoon in Birmingham, England. If you just bear me a minute, let me share this video on my timeline, and we can start the program. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. As advertised, we're going to explore the state capture and the fiasco surrounding the TRRC. And I'm going to make this clear, and I want Gambians to remember, we have a state capture in progress. This is one of the reasons why I am very careful how I approach issues. I know most people will associate this state capture with Yahya Jammeh. No. The state capture is not Yahya Jammeh himself. The state capture is the people who had even influenced Yahya Jammeh in many aspects. The same state capture have influenced the PPP in many aspects and led us to the dictatorship. That's why I'm very careful. I have the knowledge of Gambia political history, and my background is on intelligence here. Not everything discourse on a platform. Some of these things are discourse outside the platform because for strategic reasons, and again, it might not be the right platform to discuss some of the sensitive issues. But we have a state capture in progress since independence. To say, in fact, from the mid-70s going onwards. And that's where our failure lies. And we will identify the state capture, what game they're playing on, and how they control the narrative, or they want to control the narrative. The entire government and its projects are controlled by the state capture. Yes, their influence, the control elements they want to have, and they regrouped. And I said, since Jabaro went to Senegal, that's when they started, and they're deep into this government, and they've been controlling this government from projects to everything else. And the state capture, yeah, you have people who have been in there in generations, but they keep on recruiting new people all the time. And they are from diverse communities. They are not necessarily a tribe. They are not necessarily a region. These are Gambians who see their interest alone, or what they perceive to be their interest, but never for the creation of the greater good or anything else. And the best way to control or to have influence on this, based on the system in that country, what we have, what I mean about system, the constitution and the powers, the rights and power, the powers given to the executive is to capture the executive. Once you are on hold of the executive, the president who appoints the cabinet, then you can dictate the narrative. But these are the same people that will ensure the political climate is the way they want it. They are the patrons. They are the ones to go and support a government, to keep that government in place. And at the same time, they hedge their bets to support opposition parties, the ones they perceive are likely to take control or win, or are prominent in order to keep the balance. That's what they do. And it's not only in Gambia, it's in Africa for that matter. But again, you can look at America and say there's a state capture, the corporate, the corporate entities control the narrative. That's why you have the conservative and the Democrats. And if you have policies like Bernie Sanders have, you would never be in government. You have to have very corporate friendly policies in order to stay, to have chance of being in government. This is quite important to note first, before we move on to the issues surrounding the TRRC as we know it. That being the case, we should be very careful on the information we receive and how we deal with this information. I will get to the point about information being released, and I don't believe that information to be factual, and I will give my understanding of the information and what I think is happening. What I think is happening. There's someone trying to call me whilst I'm on Facebook Live. And as I said, an example of this is the recent, not only recent, we have seen this, the minute Yahya Jammeh lost power, we have seen people move out of their wherever place they've been to come out to be in a prominent position in order to influence. Most of these people, some of them have never been seen in the politics of Gambia. Others were in the politics of Gambia, and we know where they were supporting Yahya Jammeh. But the minute they realized the influence of the UDP in government, they went for the UDP. Most of them went to join the UDP or to be part of the UDP in order to have control of government. As it went on, and they realized that UDP is not in control of government, but Barrow is in control of the government executive, because they thought that though Barrow was the executive, head of the executive, the president, they thought that Usenu had the powers. But the minute they realized that actually Barrow is wielding the powers, or they managed to embolden Barrow, and they decamped. Some of them decamped, not all of them. Others stayed within the UDP, because they're not confident of Barrow maintaining that power. Or they've realized that joining Barrow was not to their interest, and they would rather stay with the UDP and work within the UDP in order for if the UDP wins the election, they can capture the state. We have to be very careful. It went on to recently what we saw with Babanding Jobate. And I'm not going into the deep history of Babanding Jobate, but we all know who Babanding Jobate is, because he came and testified to the course of the TRRC. But one thing probably some people might not know, or might not pay attention, or might have forgotten. Babanding was not only appointed by Jammeh to the position of Justice Minister, but he lobbied to be a Justice Minister. Just as many other people that were appointed by Jammeh, especially at the latter part. He organizes, he went on to please Jammeh. During the NIA saga, and he fell out with Jammeh. He went to private practice, but he managed again to get to Jammeh's books. Because of what? That's what they think. They have to be in this to capture the state in order to build up themselves. It's not for the greater good. And things he did, we all know. He went and bought out political capital by building police stations or reforming police stations in Bansang and other things. And not only that, organizing groups, mobilizing groups for Jammeh, to show his loyalty to Jammeh, and to prove to Jammeh his influence. But the minute he became a justice minister, we have seen what he done. I know that there's an area been captured on the TRRC about the atrocities and and other things that he looked out for. But we have to remember the Commission of Inquiry, the Tax Commission of Inquiry that Jammeh have, Jammeh had created in order to go after people that he perceived to be his enemies, or people that he perceived that they will be supporting the opposition. That's why he went for legal practitioners, he went for private entrepreneurs and others. We knew that it was so selective, and the commission was not entirely free. Competent. To discharge. It was a witch hunt. But it was this justice minister that stayed there and opened an account when monies were coming out, been taken off, technically forcefully, and going to the coffers of what a bank account controlled by Jammeh. But the minute now they perceive, they believe that it's for UDP to lose these elections, they are out of the woodworks. Some, I said some were already there, but others will be coming. And some others will be behind the scenes. And we should be careful. We should be careful that these people are not coming to empower a political party. They're coming to empower themselves. They're not coming to empower the Gambia. They're coming to empower themselves. And these are the people, before we blame the army, before we blame the police, these are the powerful people that capture the state and make sure the state is the way they want it. Corruption. And it's from corruption, human rights abuses will come on all the aspects. The sufferings, the poverty, and this destabilization of our country will come out from corruption. And it's all to their interest. They don't represent their tribes. No, they don't care about that. They will use it when it's convenient, but they don't care. Because we all see this, we all seen these people during the time of Yahya Jammeh. We have the Mandinkas, we have the Fullers, we have the Jolas themselves who were victims. Every tribe in the Gambia took part in what was happening. They don't care. They don't care about their religion. It's not about religion. Be it Muslim, Christian, Jehovah, or whatever it is, it's not about that. None of those religions will tell them to do or to be part of these things. They do it for themselves, their families, for wealth. It's not about the region that they came from. We have seen the schools in every region. We have seen the hospitals in the regions. We have seen the roads in the regions. We have seen poverty in the regions. They are not representing us. That's why we should be very careful. They have a right to association. They can go and associate to any political party they want. But these are people not to be celebrated. These are people not to be given prominence. These are the people who are trying to undermine the state as it should be in order not to be held accountable. In order for the state to be bankrupt in a sense of morally, so that they can survive. It's just like disease. They like bad bacteria. They like a conducive environment to operate. A good governance is not a conducive environment for them. Then we should be very careful. As I said, they want to create that. And we have seen that from the, if you look at every aspect of failure, you will see their hands in it. Some of them are in cabinet. Some of them are in institutions. Some of them are politicians. Some of them are business people. Generally, the ordinary Gambian becomes a victim due to our ignorance, due to our sentiments. They will use our ignorance, our sentiments to control us. They become patrons. They'll come to us. Oh, Bakau, we should support because of Ben Suare is part of this. He's from Bakau. Or Fulas, we should support because Ben Suare. Or Mandinkas will support because of Ben Suare is a Mandinka. Or Jolas will support because Ben Suare is a Jola. Or Ben Suare is from Bakau. What does Ben Suare represent? This is how they do it. And that ignorance will keep us where we are and dangerous of losing our sovereignty and being destabilized. Now, let me come on to the TRRC. That's just to show you a background, and you will, what I talked about about the state capture, some of it I will elaborate in what is happening in the at the TRRC. You know, the way they sabotage and people say, oh, Barrow sabotaged the constitutional draft constitution. Barrow was helped to do that because they captured Barrow. They don't want a constitution that's good for Gambia. They want a constitution that serves their purpose. They want someone like Barrow to be in power. The Janneh Commission, that's what they did with the Janneh Commission. And again, because they ensure that their people are in cabinet, their people are in strategic positions in government in order to influence things. Now we come to the TRRC. They don't want the TRRC to come out. They don't want a credible, the credibility. They want to discredit the TRRC. In order, I am coming. I'm not letting the TRRC off. I'm just putting the position first of what they want. Every other aspect that have happened in the country, you see their hands in it. Let's come to the TRRC. The problem with the TRRC failed their mandate. Let's hold them to account. Let the TRRC salvage themselves. As I said, I am very mindful how I associate, because I always try to look for the greater good. At times you are not happy with what is happening, but you try to make the best out of what you have. As an individual, I can only do a little, that much of influence. If I can influence few others and all those others to influence, that's what I can. Then I should measure what I can take on. I should look at things properly and see how I position myself for the greater good. And yes, that's my interest. The greater good is my interest, but not for any selfish interest. That's why when the TRRC came out, before the TRRC came, go and listen to my programs. Before Yaya Jammeh, when I knew that Yaya Jammeh was going to lose the elections or was going to leave the country by December, I talked about reconciliation. I talked about TRRC commissions. I talked about them because part of the programming we were doing was to encourage Gambians to see beyond Yaya Jammeh. Encourage Gambians to look forward to a better government, to give them hope. That was the strategy. Whoever listened to my programs in October, November, and in December itself, and just after the elections, part of everything chaos was going on, we were trying to instill hope, talking about what commissions are. My support was never for a TRRC type commission because I knew it was not right for Gambia. But end of the day, it's already done. What can I do? It's to try and survey to see what best can come out of it. That's why I threw my support behind the TRRC and I made my observations openly of what constructive criticism, but most of my criticism actually was not in the open. It was sent to people who can influence this issue to be looked into. And most of it were ignored. Most of it was ignored. But it does not mean that we have to go against the entire institution and break it off because of what we have to, be careful of the effect of losing. One thing we have then was the TRRC. But the TRRC themselves, people given the mandate, had a responsibility when they swear for the public trust. They have a mandate. When they were selected, if they had the competence or they find out they don't have the competence, to raise their hands and say, I don't have the competence. Or to do it to the best of their ability. And the people that led that commission should have made sure they did everything right to the best of their ability and speak to Gambians, because the mandate is given to them by Gambians, by Parliament. And we'll get to that. What should have happened? I said this many times. What did I? And I'll just go briefly again and talk about this. What I thought, and so many people have discussed this about of what we should have had. One, I believe we could have a commission, but that commission was the commission was just to look into the cause of the coup. Why did the coup happen? That's all. That commission would have taken 6 months max, and they would have written a comprehensive report. 6 months max. A comprehensive report. You give people a project, make sure that project is achievable. Make sure you can measure it. Make sure it's deliverable. Then, what was most important? We would have learned about the governance, how the country was governed in that time, and these surviving people and other materials we would have come on. 2, how these institutions were governed, be the army, the armed forces, be police, the judiciary, these critical institutions in governance. The allegations that were made, and then finally we'll get to why, and then there'll be recommendations. When you have the recommendations from a commission like that, that would have helped us in our both, not only both, it would have helped us in our security sector reforms, the information required to understand the failures of the security sector, to ensure that the reforms would take note of that, would have helped us in our civil service reforms. It would have helped us in our constitutional rebuilding, because then we'll know the powers that were abused by the executive, Jawara. How comes the Nigerian army was brought into the Gambia without the consent or deliberated in cabinet, without being deliberated at the parliament? That was an important point. The allegations made within the armed forces of corruption, nepotism, would have been unearthed, and it would have been more comprehensive, deeper, to get these things out. The failure of the democracy itself, why Gambia has never had an independent electoral commission under Jawara, why PPP government prolonged for 30 years, all these things would have come on, and we could have learned about that. That's one. I just say brief, I don't want to go further than that. 2, a justice element, a special court should have been set up. Competent courts. How many people are accused of grave crime? You will find out that it's not more than 150 people of the most serious crimes. Far less. And most of them are dead. And the other people mentioned in this, taking part in any other form, would have served as witnesses, and a competent court would have come out and justice would have been served. And the perpetrators of those crimes would be held to justice within 6, 7 months, 9 months, or 1 year max. The justice would have been delivered. And the importance of that, during the deliberation in court, we will have the facts, because of the evidence will be cross-examined. During this commission, how many, contradictions within them, this thing, and the evidence were not cross-examined. If the justice system, if you take into the justice, then anybody found guilty, we would have been in a better position. And you'll be surprised that most of them would have, even pled guilty. The court case was not going to be prolonged. Just as we've seen in the TRRC, would not going to be prolonged. Because it will be difficult for them to lie. They know witnesses are available. They know there will be cross-argument, and they will know the penalties for lying in court. Again, The another aspect would be the victim, victim statement, impact statement. The victim will come and give an impact statement. And with this information, we will have a clear information that a victim like Suleiman Swai was a victim. We'll have exactly what victimhood he became, how many period he spent in prison and what went well on. Because we have a competent evidence before us. Now the victim statement would have helped us to understand how hurt the victim was. Then the compensation or the reparation would not be very easy to come to conclusion. How long would it take for someone to examine those statements? Because they've already gone to competent courts. And finally, the other aspect then would be reconciliation. Then the people that perpetrated this crime will directly reconcile with the people they they hurt. They would have gone directly. Now finally, it would be easier for people to forgive. At least the person that offended me, the state have ensured he is serving time for that crime. Now I can forgive. And that's true reconciliation, and other aspects can only. This is what I was expecting in a nutshell. But the structure of the TRRC was wrong. The capacity of the TRRC was inadequate. The strategy was wrong. And what outcome do we have? If you have the structures wrong, if you have the capacity inadequate, if you have the strategy wrong, this is the outcome we have. As I said, when we did our criticism during the TRRC, we were very careful not to bring it down. We let them be, but we did constructive observations, criticism in the open. But behind the scenes, we try to advise, give our this thing to people that could have influenced it. But most of it was ignored. They believe they know better. They did their study tours. They went to Sierra Leone. They went to South Africa and other places. I'm not going to go into the study tour. I'll tell you many things wrong about the study tour. But anyway, it's good to go to those places. But our case was unique in a sense from these places. We didn't have a civil war. Sierra Leone that had a civil war, what happened? They have a special court. They have a special court. And a Gambian, Justice Janet, Jibu Janet was part of the judges sitting at the special court. The special court took about 2 years or so. Not 5 years, even if it said 3 years at max. And it delivered. And not only rebels were tried, government officers were tried, former ministers were tried, and that's how it went on. South Africa, the recent issues that happened in South Africa, the riot we saw, is an evidence of the failure of the transition. Because the government was captured, or is still captured. The ANC failed completely. They could not hold the minority white rulers to account, because they took over and they allowed to go into partnership with these people to be in government. That's state capture. And the fact of this, South Africa have a commission now going on called the state capture. But it's not going to be competent. The president, who was a unionist, became a billionaire. From 94 to now, become a billionaire. A unionist become a billionaire. Because of what? He's a politician. The Thabo Mbekes and his family become millionaires. Zumas become billionaires. And others and others and others, politicians. But the poor people in South Africa are still in crisis. Nothing changed for them. That's why we see the riots and other things. This is what the failures are. The failure of the transition. State capture again, would be the reason for this. The TRRC failed in the sense, the structure, the capacity, and the strategy, and this is the outcome we have. No time to go into all that, but we can see the outcome, and we'll touch some part of this to understand what it meant by the structure, the capacity, the strategy, and the outcome. Batambedu, these are all the reasons Batambedu ran away. Not only the corruption that Batambedu was part of in disposing the assets of Yahya Jammeh. Yes, corruption. He ran. He abandoned the overseeing of the Janneh Commission. Corruption, he ran. And the setting of these commissions, everything was done by, Batambedu favoritism. Structured because he was part of the state capture. He's an agent of the state capture. It's all about themselves, not for the greater good. As I said, when we talked about Batambedu, some people came out to defend him. We said he ran away. Go and look at the records, what we said. And the facts are here, and they're going to stay. He ran away, he failed. As I said, the strategy, the structure, we have, key aspect of what was meant to happen, to be comprised, to be there. It's not. The key issues, when they concentrated the issue on the security sector and everything, none of the commissioners have a background from the security sector. None of the commissioners have a background. Apart from the chairman, none of them have legal background, as much as I can remember. But the composition was mostly what? The capacity composed was mostly what? Community, as if we had only community issues. The problems we have was not community issues. It was not community issues. No, it was a regime that committed crimes. It was not community issues. It was not between tribes fighting each other. It was not between clans fighting each other. But they fell into that. That's why the capacity was wrong and the strategy was wrong. The people we expected to be called as witness never called. The Secretary General, who was Secretary General, before 1994, in the time of the coup, Sarah Jangha was never called upon. Why? Ndaunjai, who was these people are alive. Ndaunjai, who was the head of the army. And when things were disintegrating, who was in charge, was never called upon. He's alive. Let's go on. In the cabinet, the person who served as defense minister, say Husabali, is alive, was never called up. Defense minister was never invited. And I can go on. Go on. That's the failure. Now, failure to produce a report shows the weakness. As we said, the capacity was not right. The TRRC have been sitting, and they sat they sat for 2-3 weeks, depend the length, the caseload, and they have demis, would be witch hunt, about the witch hunting, this thing, would be about junglers, about this and that. But whenever they finish the sessions, they will take a week or 2 or 3 off to write the report. This was what they told us. Let's hold them accountable. They were paid handsomely. They tell us that, they're taking 2 weeks. The sitting was Monday to Thursday, if I'm right. They have Friday, Saturday, Sunday to themselves. But they came out to say that they've been writing the report. This is what they said. Now, the report was due in July. The report did not come out in July. We'll go to that. And it was extended to yesterday, 30th of September. Did not come out. Now, the TRRC released a report, a press release. They did not even have the audacity to come out and speak to us, to be questioned. They sent a press release open-ended, no date given now of when the report is going to come out. How good is that? How good is that? Is that not a complete failure? Is that not a failure? Now, how would the victims feel? The failure of the TRRC that's why I said they have to come out and salvage themselves. They need to come and face the press and explain exactly. They need to hold themselves to account. And I will get to some details of this. Till we get to. That's a failure they have, that's a weakness. Then what happened is, I remember I said this, many Gambians did not know that the Janneh Commission report was not written by Gambia or Gambians. Yeah, you see, it's easy to take witness statements. It's easy to do the hearing. But to develop the report, that's what the competent report, I mean. That's a problem. But the Janneh Commission at least put their hands up to say, look, we had collected all this data, information, but we are struggling. And they got an American government to help them, and the civil society or something came on board and written the report. They wrote that report. Now, that's why the minute the American government were involved, they had prior information before they released the Janneh Commission reports, because the information they have in there, that's how they started to sanction Jammeh. Took the and freeze the accounts and the Potoman Manson, because of that was the reason. And there are others. I don't want to dive into the Janneh Commission. But these people end up going on still now. They cannot tell you what the problem is. They did not tell us that this is how exactly. They just tell you a delay. A delay of what? You said to us that every session finished, you are writing the report. Every you compile the report. People I hope. You gave us a date, give us a date now. You have not given us a date. Oh, I have done 9, 8, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. It's wrong. We're going to go into that. That's a weakness. Okay, what happened? The revelation. What happened? The incidents in July. Now, this is what we understand transpired from themselves. There was a press release. I will not read the whole entire press release, but I'll try and capture some of it. There was a press release. Just a minute. Okay, there was a press release from the TRRC. It says, following the end of the public hearing of the TRRC on the 28th of May 2021, they finished in May 2021, the Commission embarked intensively on a preparation of its final report for submission to the President of the Republic of the Gambia, based on the Section 29 of the TRRC Act 2017. The Commission, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice and the Office of the President, after consultation, agreed on the 12th of July 2021 as the date for the submission of the final report to the President. They agreed, the stakeholders, be the Attorney General, the technician of government, and Justice Minister, advisor to the President or government, and the President himself and the TRRC, they agreed on a date. On a date for the 12th of July. On a July 12th, they agreed. Now, the TRRC, you see, that's why I said, was this measure, did they really know what they're doing to say that they can finish? They did not finish. They could not measure, they cannot measure, they cannot give you a day. They did not finish on the 12th. However, they continue to say, however, the Office of the President informed informed that due to previously arranged engagement, the president was not available to receive the commission on the 12th of July and therefore proposed a new date of 30th July 2021. Gambia, this is where I want you to be careful now. This is where I want you to be careful. I know people say it's not relevant because now even the State House, the President's office, they turned around to say that no, we cannot see you this time. Let's propose to change the date to 30th. They might turn around to say no, it's not relevant anymore because the report is still not finished. Fine. But I want us to be critical. Ask ourselves. The President engagement is known. And at that date, we were a witness of that date. We have not seen anything prominent or heard anything prominent. And it takes how many? It takes an hour to do the ceremony. It's a ceremony at the State House. It's a formality to receive a report. Why did they do that? There are allegations. I'm going to get into the allegations of information being leaked from the TRRC to the executive. And I will explain what's been transpired as we know it. They continue now. Let's say they have an agreement. They say, notwithstanding the heavy schedule of work devoted to completing the draft report, the Commission informed the Attorney General on the 27th of July that it needed more time, about 8 weeks, to compile all 16 volumes of the report and other important documents. Accordingly, and followed a meeting between the chairman of the commission and the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, the commission suggested a new date, Thursday, the 30th of September 2021, as the date of submission of the final report of the TRRC to the President. The TRRC now took an undertaking to say that due to consideration of the heavy lifting and everything they need to do, now they need an extension, and the extension to this date, 30th of September 2021. But let's read the details. They said needed more time, about 8 weeks, to complete all 16 volumes of the report. All 16 volumes. That's what they promised. That's what they promised. Now, 30th September comes, we have not seen the report. This is what transpired in July. Now, Gambians say, okay, let's go on. We have an understanding. Let be. We still give them the benefit of that they are going to deliver. But information unknown to the TRRC, at the time in July, there are two infiltrators, members of commissioners, two commissioners who were working with State House, leaking the strategy, leaking the deliberation, and giving State House to understand the weakness of the TRRC. That was in July. The TRRC didn't know. The commission didn't know. That's why that allegation never came out at that time. But why I am not naming those two? They are not the two names in the media. It's the two I know of or been told. It's not Madam Adelaide. It's not Bishop Johnson. That's why that pit, I'll get to that later. We have to be very careful. The state capture. We have to be very careful. And I'll give my reason why. What I know, I'm not going to tell you how I know this, but if people can remember yesterday, day before yesterday, I was the one who broke the story that the commission is not, TRRC is not going to hand over the reports because someone concerned got to me and said to me, something has to be done. Now they realize that they've been infiltrated, and they realize that the TRRC is compromised. We need to salvage the TRRC. That's so what we can do. The rest is the TRRC to do. And in the discussion, 2 names were given that they infiltrated the commission. Right? We left it there. I went to do my investigation. The other person contacted did not know about this story yet, even break it. When I spoke to the person, he checked, he came back, he gave me the same 2 names, and these 2 don't know each other. I mean, it's not from, he did not take it from the person I took it from. He gave me the same 2 names. That's not enough. That's not enough even to accuse these 2. It's an allegation, a strong an allegation. I trust them. But I asked them for a reason, a proof, evidence. Something is given to me. But what's given is still, for me, not enough to accuse someone. Or to come out in the air to name them. I am still waiting on more evidence on that. Because that too is an allegation. That they undermine because they've been sending information. But again, they've been influencing. That's very important. Both said that. They've been influencing an outcome. And we'll see what that influencing is. The 2 names out there, they are not. What might happen here? Madame Adelaide would not have been my first suspect. I would not even thought about that. The character I know, not thought about that. But if evidence is produced before me, yes. The same thing, these 2, I don't know personally, still I give them the benefit of doubt. I want to base it on evidence. Even though there's allegations and seemingly collaborated allegations, that's not enough. I want something further down. And why? Because if I make that statement, I want to back that statement up. Failure to back that statement, even if I'm convinced as an individual, that's not fair to others, and that's not fair to them. But if I have the evidence, I will do it. And if they have a problem with it, let them come out and defend themselves. If they fail to defend themselves, then they are accused of what they've been, they're guilty of what been accused. These 2, the bishop, I don't know the bishop. But I don't think it is in his character to do that. Now, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying they have not done it. I've not had the evidence. I cannot accuse them. I'm saying to Ghanaians to be very careful. What might have happened? Because now, if you have they might not, because of the profile of Dr. Cisse, they might not want to accuse Dr. Cisse because of his internal profile. But I'll tell you, it's not about international profile alone. Some people have cultivated integrity, which have been exposed to the international. Let's bear that in mind. But now, if you accuse the deputy chair and accuse a clergy or an imam on the these things, you know the impact of that is undermining the entire TRRC. Now, the people that acted, the people who did really infiltrate this thing would want their name to be covered, other people to be accused. That's what they do. Or the state themselves, because the state is doing the infiltration, would want to cover their assets. That's we call them, they cover your assets, put other names out there. They want to do that to cover their assets, 1. 2, even though they might not even mind to cover their assets, but if people bring out their assets, let's say if I name the different 2 people, and someone named these 2 people, someone named that 2 people, what will happen? The entire TRRC was undermined. Then the state capture got what they want. They want the TRRC to be undermined in order for the testimonies and the report will be disregarded. That's if you return Barrow in office. That if you return anybody that you not hold accountable in office. It's for Gambians to hold them accountable. What matters is here us Gambians, but right now what matters is the TRRC to come and make things clear to us. TRRC can hold their own internal investigation and name the names of people that they have competent evidence that they were complicit and throw them out, and they be the criminals that they will be, and the competency of the TRRC would be maintained. But if they silence due to their weakness because they fail to bring out the report in time, they are doing disservice to Gambians and to the victims most. That's my theory. Let's move on. What happened on Wednesday? Now, what we understand happened on Wednesday, in July, for instance, July, okay, one of the allegations was in July, when the TRRC was strategizing because they know that they cannot deliver the deadline of July. When they were negotiating that, information got to the executive to know that this is what they're dealing with. We have the TRRC have a problem. Now, according to what transpired, these two people influenced the report not to be submitted because of this. The TRRC already wanted to do what they wanted to do a few days ago. In July, they wanted to submit part of the report. And these two influenced some of others, and literally the chairman had to go with that to say that, okay, we have to hold everything back and go to the executive to negotiate with the executive to extend it. Not knowing that, that's what, these people are doing it for two reasons. One, they're doing it for the executive, that's what the executive wants. Two, they're doing it for themselves. And some people who might have supported this unknowingly, some other commissioners might have supported their stand, these two people stand, or knowing that these people are infiltrated or they are infiltrators, but two is for their benefit. You see, conflict of interest. Because if you extend, they still be paid the wages they be paid at the TRRC, and most of them, may I say all of them? Apart from Chairman Cisse, all of them are not going to earn or are not earning. Have not been earning what they earning now in the TRRC. They want that to prolong for a few months, Scott. I'm not saying all of them that would, but most of them would be. That would be an interest. It's human. That would be conflict of interest. Then this is one allegation that was made about it. Then on Wednesday, they went into deliberation a few days before Wednesday. Now they wanted to go and meet the AG chambers. Still now, they did not finish the report. And they agreed in July that they are going to finish the report and deliver the report on the 30th of September. Again, there are allegations made that this is why they detected that these two people have been infiltrated, and they have evidence or they reported that these people have been going to State House to meet the president. I am not saying, let me say it again for people that join us, I am not accusing the two people I'm referring to. It's not Madame Adelaide and it's not the bishop. None. There are two different commissioners. I am not accusing this. I mean the two unnamed commissioners, in public. On Wednesday, they went to the AG, and the AG said to them, no, we are not going to accept the partial report. 8 chapters. We are not going to accept it. We want the full report. Because of the weakness of the TRRC, now yes, they open themselves up because they're weak, because they failed their mandate. Remember, it finished in May, June, July, August, September, 4 months. But in the interim, anytime they have a sit-in, if they do the junglers, they have 2 weeks or 3. If they do the witch hunt, they have 2 weeks or 3. When they do the imams, they have 2 weeks or 3. They've been taking those breaks, telling us that they are working behind the scenes. And remember, during the pandemic, they have a month or 2. They could have worked from away from home. They could, they could have worked. I assume they were working. I assume. But that's their responsibility they felt. And now, this is the this is the report. This is the press statement from the TRRC. The Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission. This is the press release they did yesterday. Is it today? Yes, they did yesterday, sorry, yesterday. We were expecting them to submit yesterday, but they came with a press release. This press release reads, the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission, TRRC, had planned to submit today, 30th September 2021, its final report to the President of the Republic of the Gambia as required under the provision of Section 29 of the TRRC Act 2017. Work on the 16th volume comprising the final report has been completed. This is what is confusing. They said have been completed, except for 4 volumes. You see, this is a communication strategy. The minute they put the word complete, it's to control our thinking. It's not complete. Complete means complete, done. It's not done. They said completed. Why did they mention 16 volumes and 4 more left? That's not right. They should just say that they have not completed the report. We expected a complete report, not a letter, not a sentence left. They failed. They should not continue to say the Commission accordingly informed the government through the Attorney General and Minister of Justice that it will continue the finalization work and submit the full report when it is completed. Now, you see, they bring the completed again. Now they say that they spoke to the Attorney General, who is representing the President or the government, and to say that they will work on to finalize the final report and submit it when it's completed. But they did not tell us when that will be. Now, guys, is that not a failure? That they cannot give us a date? A date to say that we are going to complete it? Look, they gave us a date in July, they failed. They gave us the date in September, they failed. 8 weeks after. Now, the reason I said the structure was wrong, the reasons I said the capacity was inadequate, the reason I said the strategy was wrong, and this is the final outcome we have. This is the final outcome we have. But we need to salvage this to our national interest. We cannot disregard this report completely. We have to salvage this. And look, it's already a known fact. Barrow doesn't want the report. The government is not interested in the report because the government is hijacked. Barrow is hijacked by the same people that hijacked the other government. People that played with the IJM and control and influence a lot of aspects of the IJM's government are now completely in control. And these are not, I'm not talking about the executive that went and joined. No, those are, I don't want to call them non-entity, but they are non-important people in the mix of things. They are just trying to make themselves relevant. We all see that they cannot even carry the grassroots with them. I'm talking about the people that do the state capture. Let's continue. They did not give us a date. They said, without proposing yet another date for submission, the Commission assured that this final phase of its work will not be prolonged. You don't give us a date, an open date, and say they will not be prolonged. Why? If you not give us a date, you have no confidence. You cannot convince me. If you say, oh, I'll come and see you, but you don't tell me that I'm coming Friday, I cannot hold you up until Friday. Obviously, that's not enough. It is a failure. They continue to say the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice agreed to the proposal on behalf of the government and reassure the Commission that the government will continue to provide the funds required for the completion of the work of the TRRC. Now, that final phase, the government is happy. They got what they wanted. They wanted to prolong the report, not to be submitted before November. They don't mind to be submitted just before November. They mean technically in late October even to be submitted. They don't care. So that 1 month before it goes to Parliament. By that time will be the end of the campaign. Now we are just at the elections, or probably even November. There are other technicalities that they can use to prolong few weeks to make the 1 month even longer. They can apply all that to make sure the report will not be talked about, will be dealt with till after the elections. What that does for Barrow, if we keep quiet, what does do for Barrow to give a sort of a reassurance to the APRC? These are not the people that joined him. These are people that refuse to join him, so that they can campaign. You see, Barrow is not ready to honor the report. Barrow is not going to honor the report. Wake up and smell the coffee. Barrow honor the report or not, Barrow is not going to be there after December. That's what Gambians should do. It's up to Gambians to keep Barrow there after December. If we keep Barrow there after December, why do you ever think? No, we know that it's not going to happen. He's state captured. We have seen the fate of anything else that have run in that country. From economy to anything else. Don't get me talking about what is happening in our ozone now. Now we had about agreement with Senegal and others. We don't know the others who they are. To explore, we don't even know what marine resources or any resources in there. Might be petroleum, might be this. Do we know? We expect that a government like that. We have seen what happened in Banjul. It's no more $35 million. It's $37, $39 million. Open-ended. For what work been done. And look, we can go on and go on. Gambians have enough reasons. But why this is important is because of the victims. Why this is important? This is the quickest destabilizing factor. And it's the corruption. Yes, it's the background of this is corruption. Because the people controlling this are controlling for corruption. They insulate themselves. They will be directly affected by a report like this. How a report like this will affect some of these people? Let me tell you this. Some of these people want us to believe that, look, what happened, let be bygones, because they took part one way or the other. Now, let's just continue. That's what they want. It's for themselves. To save their shame or whatever it is. They don't have it. This is what's going on. Now, the position we are at now, just a minute. The position we are at now is the negotiations Barrow won over the weakness of the TRRC, because the TRRC is weak. They did not, you see, if you did not do what you meant to do, if you come to the negotiation table, what do you have? TRRC will have to agree on what Barrow wants. Go, and again, what will happen is, the commissioners, I'm not saying all of them, most of them will be happy. Why keep the commissioners? What are they writing the report? Who is writing the report? What we understand, what we are meant to believe is, a person, someone said it's a woman, a person is given the task to do the layout or whatever finishing they need. And that person, they said, is old, is slow. Can you believe that? But again, it's not for me to tell you that. The TRRC should have come, and the chairman should have come on a press conference. Tell us exactly what is keeping it delayed. Did you hire a consultant to do this job and it did not deliver? When are you going to deliver? Why can't you give us a date? These are the questions we need to ask. Not only release a press release and go and sit down. Now, this is the weakness of the TRRC because of one, they have not done their job properly. They failed to produce the report. They failed. They ask for extension, they fail. That's the weakness. The other weakness is the infiltrators. They have infiltrators among them who infiltrated them and now gave advantage to the executive who wanted to negotiate on prolonging it. But again, why the TRRC should come out with this allegation is to save the innocent commissioners. They are the best competent authority to come out and save the competent commissioners and make rest to this. And that's why I'm appealing on people to be careful, to be sharing these two names. It's not fair on them. Until you have evidence, because of somebody mentioned them, you keep on saying it's not fair on them. And it's not only about them, it can be a catalyst of undermining the TRRC itself completely. Not only the incompetence of completing the report, that's a disappointment, but not a major, as if the integrity of the TRRC is questioned. Then the mafia would have what they want, the state captors will have what they want and discredit the report. That's what they want. Now the TRRC owe it to themselves, owe it to Gambians, to the mandate given to them to come and give us clarity. If they don't believe that anybody was infiltrated or anybody acted this way, let them say it. But I am telling you, it's coming from them. It's coming from them. I'm taking the information, two sources from them, giving me two names, which I did not put in the media. I'm not going to put in the media until I have the other content I asked for. We should not allow that. They are briefing against certain people. Until competent authority is proven, they're briefing on this. Let's take it as a brief. We should not allow that. Again, this is another failure to conflict of interest. You see, that's why I say bad time to run away. If the commission was structured right and everything was done right, there's an aspect of it to determine when the commission was going to finish, to be able to measure that, to make sure the commission was relevant, the objective can be achieved, what they do would be achievable, and we can put a time on it. That would have been important. But it's just open it. Now the commissioners, and I can say most of them, are not going to earn this much money for God knows to come. Now you expect these people that whenever they delay, they get paid. It's like you taking a contractor, asking the contractor to do a work for you, and the contractor is going to do the same work for you, and the contractor will have given you a time that the work is going to finish. But the contractor failed to finish that work, and you have to extend the time for the job to be finished, but you have to keep on paying the contractor more for the same job. Now we are paying more to the commissioners, or the commission, spending money for the same job they were meant to finish. This is incompetence of the people that designed the commission. And we still did not have the outcome we desire. These are issues that point to the failure of Bartambedo, again, for creating the commission. And these are part of the objections we have of putting a commission of this magnitude. And people that remembered, when I talk about commissions, this was commissioners' inquiries. Just a minute. Hello? Sorry, Maggie online. Who is this? Tunko. Tunko. Okay, on what line is going to be? Just, it's about the TRRC or? Okay, just a quick one. Okay, I'll let you. Let me put it on speaker. Okay, guys, just a minute. Brother Tunko just called me. I just want to take his note here. Okay, Tunko, go ahead.
Yeah, it's about your deliberations. Basically, I don't think the sabotage will put the commission's findings and the report incredible in any way. Right. If, like, something has been tampered in the sense that an evidence has been deleted or something has been added to the report, then you could say that could put the report in jeopardy. But whatever is going on, we all know is sabotage, and then this sabotage, we are not ruling the state out of it. And when the TRRC mandate was expired, they extended it to the government, and the government allowed them to carry on the job. And again, when this problem happened a few days ago, again, the government permitted them to carry on and then submit the completed report. So I don't think somebody should give this hope into anyone that, the commission's delay or all this sabotage should be something that will have something to do with the credibility of the commission's findings. Because nothing has been deleted or nothing has been added. So whoever witness was, nothing has been deleted or added. Just a part of the chapter was just removed from the report. Whosoever did it on what purpose, we will come to know about him or her. But the commission's findings and the report, nothing absolutely is wrong with that.
Okay.
This is what I want to put across.
Okay, thank you.
We shouldn't give these people the hope that because there is sabotage, the sabotage there is we are accusing, or there are people who have been pointed out that they are seeing the executive. So if that is there, then it is not about the report, it is about the sabotage.
Okay, thank you. Let me just...
In any institution, this is
thank
what
you.
I want to say.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I completely disagree, respectfully. But with what I'm going to say here is the integrity of the commission. Now, if two people are called and accused, and the more stick, other two people called accused, the more stick. I am not going to go into other possibilities because I don't want to share ideas that could have undermined anything. Then other points can be taken up with all this is the loss of confidence. You see, expectations have to be managed. If people lose confidence and trust, and this is centered on the people, then the government or any this government or any government coming can use that as an excuse. I am not saying to be a good reason, but as an excuse because of the public are already dissolute. The public are not in confidence with the commission itself. That's why people with good integrity are important in selecting and to make sure they deliberated the issue about bringing yourself into disrepute into an organization. That's why that word is important, and that is important. It's not what we have to say. I get where you're going to with this. What we have to say is, that's why I'm warning people not to give ammunition, people to refrain from naming people, and for the TRRC to do the right thing themselves, to come out and speak to people, not to start to, because they were very good at coming out for press conference. And a day like yesterday was a very important day to announce to deliver these things. And if it failed, they were required to speak to the press, to speak to the public, to continue to keep the public confidence on them and their work. That's what important. But the minute you release a press statement that is in fact confusing, That is undermining. That's the fact. That's the fact about things for me. And a lot of people I talk to, that's the fact. The press release was, it's not, you cannot just come out. We all know where the government stand with this. And we are in support of them, but they are not taking us along. They are losing us. Because of you cannot just bag something that's completely incompetent. You cannot come around to extend twice. The third time you say, I'm not even giving you a date, but it's going to be finished. And you call that a competent authority. This is an undermining. This is my point. But again, for us too, we have a responsibility not to, play up, because of there are people that wants this to be undermined, But the absolute responsibility rests on the finally. That's why I said, look, if we maintain this, the report as it is, which I agree with you, the report as it is not compromised. But if we continue along this line, the report will be compromised. Now, any other allegations on the report, how can you defend it? Who is going to defend it? Because the people to defend it are not trusted anymore. This is why the trust is important. The public trust has to be maintained. This is my position anyway. You want to add anything before we hang it up? I'm going to.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tunko. Thank you. Cheers. Guys, that was Tunko, and I hope you had our discussion, and that's what I said. It's important for the trust, and that's why we should hold it that way. The press statement was not good enough. Why Barrow wants a delay? I mean, it's a fact. I don't see anybody argue that Barrow doesn't want a delay, or the government doesn't want a delay. I mean, now it's a fact. We know that side. That's why we're talking on behalf of the people, on our interest, behalf of especially the victims of what is expected of them. The victims want to have a clear information. And this press release is not comforting. That's why this commissioner chairman should come and face the people. That's why this commission was held in public hearing, for that transparency, come out and say this is actually what happened. And any allegation is rubbish or whatever it is, take measures. Take your internal discipline measures. Stamp on it. If names were put out there, they can investigate and come and rubbish it or whatever. These are things that are important in doing it. Guys, I mean, it's about that time to go for Timmy's prayers. And again, I hope the deliberation will be understood properly. And this is what's about. Let's not even name them again. And if anybody has shared this, I'll respectfully ask Poba even to delete it and not to undermine the commission. But we all know that there's a failing with the commission. We all know that there's a failing with the commission. But they need to repair this. They need to salvage this. And they have time to do that. And they can come out with a competent date and deliver this report. Now, it's up to Barrow now to do whatever he wants to do with it, and to Gambians to do what is right to them, and we have that opportunity come December. You see, that's the beauty of democracy. We change people that we don't want, and we should put the people that we believe are going to do better. You see, that's what manage the expectation of people. You see, if there was no elections, that's why we think that we can take our powers and just go and throw the government out. But no. We are patient. We are going through a process, campaigning. Mobilizing resources and everything to try to win over. And this is what we need. That's why we voted for democracy. And we did not regret that bit. And again, let me emphasize, this state capture have nothing to do with the IJME is completely not influential anymore. But we'll get to those things later in time. The state capture is in place, and they don't even want the IJME to come back. Don't even think this is about the IJME coming back. No, it's for themselves. They're protecting themselves. They're protecting their own people. It's not about the IJME. They don't want the IJME to come back, because the IJME would deal with some of these people in a way that the IJME is more mad with them than us. We have to understand that. Thank you very much, guys, and have a good evening. Thank you.